Now, in this session, what we're going to talk about is the 4 things that really characterize organizations that have been immensely successful. In the context of 45 years of doing, the work of development, I've just discovered that there are some organizations that really do it great, and there are other organizations that, probably could improve what it is that they're doing. And so I did search, what organizations look like that are really successful in doing what it is that they do, and what are some of the common characteristics. And so I've created a little diagram that has been helpful to a lot of people in helping to understand what the 4 significant elements that really do make up organizations that are successful. The first one, which I think is really intriguing, is the fact that they all, have a mission statement. But that mission statement is not just a statement that they had to produce in order to be incorporated, because in most instances, organizations, NGOs, and nonprofits have to produce a mission statement to essentially validate the value of getting the tax benefits that obviously are associated with contributions made to these organizations. And but organizations that are really successful, they have a mission statement, but that mission statement literally drives virtually everything that they do. When they do a project, at the end of the day, they look at the project and they say, how much did this contribute to the fulfillment of the mission? Oftentimes, before they ever even enter into a project, they'll look at the project and ask the question, is this going to be valuable in helping us to move forward what it is that we've committed ourselves to do? And many of them sometimes say that, while this may be good, and we oftentimes get opportunities that people suggest to us of things that we should do from their perspective that are going to enable the ministry to earn the funds or to gain the attention of others that are interested in them. But in many instances, some of the great ideas that are provided by board members and friends of the organization, take a lot of time and engage a lot of resources, and sometimes don't accomplish much in actually furthering the cause of the mission. And so mission is not just a statement that we produce, that we have to in order to be able to maintain good relationships with the governmental agencies that approve what it is that we do. But it's really essential to our success. And organizations that are really deeply committed to this really take it seriously. And while they should, I worked for an organization. One of the greatest examples that I think I can give of this is Grace College and Theological Seminary, where I served several years as the Vice President for Advancement. And one of the characteristics, or one of the things that they did as a part of their program, the president every year would get us all together. It was really kind of an interesting event, and he would hand us a sheet of paper, and on the sheet of paper he would have prepared the mission statement of the organization. And it was right there, and he'd kind of explain it all. Each mission statement is kind of characterized by the fact that it's a series of clauses that are separated by commas. In other words, we say, we're going to do this, comma, we're going to do this, comma, we're going to do this, we exist to do this, this, and this. But he went into greater detail in looking at each one of those clauses and saying, this is why we do this. This is why it's so important. And then there was another section of the paper which was really rather wide, and he said, here's what I want you to do. And he's talking to me personally, as he did every other member of the administration. And he said, what I want you to do is I want you to write down in quantifiable terms what it is that you're going to do this year in your organization, what it is that you're responsible for in this institution, what it is that you're going to do to help us to achieve this mission. And he says, you need to come back in a week and we're going to look at that together. And so the first time I did this, I kind of went down to my office and I'm kind of thinking, well, what am I going to do? And I came back with some rather general remarks like, I want people to really feel good about the institution, or I'm going to do things that are hopefully going to improve the image of the institution. And as soon as I got up to his office and he looked at it, he said, well, that's not good enough. That's not quantifiable enough. We can't really measure that. And so go back and work on it again. And I went back, I think, 2 times that year until finally I came up with something that basically said, I'm going to do these 5 specific things this year. And this is what it is we're going to do, and this is why we're doing it, and this is what it is that we expect to occur as a result of what it is we're doing. And he finally agreed with that, and he signed it, and I signed it, and he put it into my employee file, and we went on. Every administrator did the same thing. And then those of us that were in administration had people that were under us. We had people that we were working with. And so we did exactly the same thing with our employees, the employees to whom we were responsible. And we looked at them and we said, okay, here's what it is we're all about. This is what it is we're doing. This is the mission. Now I want to know in quantifiable terms what you're going to do as a member of this department to help us to further the cause of the ministry of the organization that we represent. And we made them do exactly the same thing that the president had asked us to do. And they came back and they said, well, I'm going to do this. And I would say, well, it's not quite ready yet. You need to go back and work on it some more. And they'd come back until finally we could all sign something. Every employee in the institution, every employee, from secretaries to custodians to coaches to choir directors, everybody in the organization did the same thing. And then at the beginning of the school year, when we all get together and have this rally, to get everybody encouraged and engaged in the organization. After we did that and had that event, what we would do next is we would take these documents that we had prepared, and there was a place at the front of the auditorium where we would come and we'd put them there, almost as a gift to the Lord or a gift to the institution. And then they went essentially into all of our employee documents, the files of our relationship with the organization. And what was really interesting is that we did employee performance reviews or analysis. We did them twice a year, once in mid-year and then once at the end of the year. And at mid-year, we would bring these little documents out and we'd say, well, how are you doing? I mean, how's it going here? I mean, this is number 3. This is something that you said that we really needed to do. And if they were slowed down or if they were bogged down or if they couldn't quite put it together, then we said, well, how can I help you to do it? So it wasn't critical of them like oftentimes employee performance reviews can be, is you're kind of sitting there thinking, I hope I did something that I should have done. I mean, they knew what was expected of them and what it is that we really wanted to accomplish. And we really came alongside not to criticize them, but to help them. In the same way at the end of the year. It was one of the most effective things that we've ever done in our organization, and we recommend it to all of our clients even today. So mission is very, very important. At the top of this little triangle, we have the word vision. And vision essentially means or equals mission accomplished. And mission accomplished is if our mission, or answers the question, if our mission was 100% successful in fulfilling what it is that it had been committed of God to do, then what would the end result look like? What would a student that is basically in your school today, what would they look like 10 years from now? How would they be relating to God? How would they be relating to your mission? How would they be relating to their families and the church and the community? You have goals, or you have outcomes that you really want to see realized in the lives of the people that you serve. And there are 2 words that are very, very significant in the world of development right now. The first one is the word outputs. And basically in outputs, we're reporting to people what it is that we do. And all of us do it. Somebody says, well, tell me about your organization. We would say, okay, this is what our organization does. And we would state in quantifiable terms the steps that we do, the things that we do, basically, to accomplish our mission. So we do this. We had 100 people come through our program this year. We had 50 graduates. We had 25 of them that went on to the university of their choice. I mean, there's all kinds of things that we do to kind of validate the fact that we're really doing the job. And those are outputs. But vision basically addresses outcomes. And outcomes is really what it is that organizations, foundations, charitable people that are evaluating and assessing your organization, that's what they're concerned about. Is it making a difference in the long term in the lives of the people that you minister to? And so vision is, something that is out there. We're out there really seeking to accomplish something. And we love to share our vision. I've had the privilege of working with a lot of visionaries over the course of my career. And, I love being with them because they have this huge vision of what it is that they really are trusting God to do. And they share that vision openly, and they communicate it with people, and it's very compelling. You hear it and you say, well, I want to be a part of this organization for what it is that they do. And there's a little principle in development that you need to keep in mind here, and that is this, that in the world of development, you always want to talk to people about your organization. You want to lead with your vision and not with your need. The realities are, when you talk about vision, that's something that's very, very compelling. Everybody has needs, but not everybody has a compelling vision. Is your vision compelling? Is it something that when you hear it, you say, I want to be a part of this because it's so incredible? Is that what it is that drives people in terms of your ministry? And if that's the case, then the realities are you'll find people that will come running to support you if in fact you can validate the fact that you have the capacity of doing what it is that you say you're going to do. Now there's two other things that basically characterize these organizations of immense success. They're represented first by this on the left-hand side, these steps, each step representing a year, and each year representing the 3 or 4 or 5 things that we've really committed ourselves to do that year to move us from where it is we are to where it is that we want to be. And so this is what we call the strategic plan. And the strategic plan, again, states in quantifiable terms the things that need to happen this year, next year, and the years thereafter to move us from where it is we are to where it is that we need to be. And the strategic plan, obviously, is built around the things that must occur in order for this vision to be realized. And organizations need to have a strategic plan, and that becomes an extremely important part of organizations that are greatly successful. But you could have a great mission, you could have a great vision, you could have a strategic plan and still have a ministry that fails because there's something else that's missing. And that's reflected in this set of stairs that goes up this pyramid, that corresponds with a set of stairs here, and it has quantifiable numbers in the context of each step, and it reflects the things that need to occur in order to be able to generate the resources that are going to be required in order to be able to fulfill the mission statement or the strategic plan. You see, in each one of these numbers in the strategic plan represents something that we want to do, and it also has a dollar sign in front of it. In other words, it's going to cost us something to be able to do this. It's going to cost us something to be able to do this. And the only way that it's going to be realized is through resources. And we only have practically speaking, three resources to bring to the table. And those three resources are time, people, and money. And so we call this the development plan. And the development plan, again, in quantifiable terms, states what it is that we need to provide in terms of time, people, and resources to address these issues if we're going to get here. Now, here's the bottom line as we bring this discussion to a close, and that is first, 98% of organizations have a mission statement. So that's encouraging that the greatest majority of nonprofit organizations, NGOs, and countries around the world have a mission statement, predominantly because they're required to have one. Organizations that typically don't have mission statements are organizations like churches who basically feel that their name reflects what it is that they do. But in reality, every church does something uniquely different in order to reach people in fulfilling the Great Commission. But nonetheless, 98% of most organizations do have a strategic plan, or a mission. About 56% of organizations have a vision statement, which again states, as a document, here's where it is we're going. This is what we want to look like when we grow up. This is the things that we really want to accomplish. This is the impact that we want to make in the world and on the people that basically we have the opportunity of being able to work with and serve. Here's where it really becomes interesting, however, and that is that 12% of these organizations have a strategic plan. That's a plan that basically states in the kinds of terms that are necessary for us to understand that here's where we are, here's where it is going. We know where we are, we know our destination, and we know the stops along the way. We know what it is that we can check progress. We're looking at it almost like a roadmap that's saying this is where it is what we're going to do in order to get to where it is we want to go. And so 12% have a strategic plan, and 3.6% of organizations, have a development plan. I've told people for years that if you could tell me where you want to, where you want to go, when you want to be there, and how much you're estimating it's going to cost for you to get there, then the realities are I can show you in really practical terms what it is you need to do this week, next week, and the weeks thereafter to get from where it is you are to where it is you need to be. And we really need to know that. Most people walk into the development office and every day they're asking the same question: what am I going to do today? And how is it going to contribute to the overall needs of the organization that I represent? And they don't have a developmental plan. They're just kind of doing what it is they think is right that's going to enable them to do what it is that needs to be done for their organization. And we need to do better than that. God has entrusted us with the organizations that we represent, and we have a responsibility to represent ourselves well. In 2008, 40% of all the nonprofits in America were lost during the economic crisis. And you know who they were? Well, I think you probably do. They were organizations that basically, didn't have a developmental plan. They didn't have a clear vision. They didn't have a clear purpose for why they existed. They didn't have a plan to get it done. And when the crisis came and people were withdrawing funds and examining organizations more closely and precisely to determine if this was a good investment, many of them said no. And these organizations disappeared. What would happen in your country? What would happen in your area if, in fact, you were to face that same dilemma? And some of you probably are facing that dilemma. In order to be able to recoup, you're going to have to take this into consideration.